do people from the Netherlands live abroad in New York? How do they live and work in the city that never sleeps? That's the question to which this NL Club NYC podcast will give you the answers.
Welcome at the NL Club podcast. This is Mark with a difficult last name, Ogertschnig, and today we're starting the first of our series, Business in New York, a podcast, and we got two special guests today, and I'm having the honor to interview you guys. So welcome here.
Thank you, Mark.
In this beautiful place. We're in the Citizen M Hotel, which is the new headquarters for the NL Club, where we do a lot of our events. And today in the background you can hear a lot of noise because we have people coming in, preparing for the borrel, as we say, right, in Dutch. And today, I have two special guests, as I said. Maybe we can start with a short introduction. I look on my left side, Philip. Welcome, and tell us a little bit. Who are you?
Thank you. My name is Philip Hordijk. Born, not raised necessarily in Amsterdam, a while ago. And I've moved to the U.S. in New York City about 12 years ago. And I came thinking I had a job and I was going to travel Latin America with the job. And it was all coming together. I was on top of the world. And 3 months later, I did not have a job or a visa, but I met my wife on day 2. And I decided to stay.
Wow.
And I decided that I needed to make some money.
Wow.
And I started a real estate brokerage.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I want to hear all about that because you have a lot to tell. I know that because we know each other a little bit. And then next to you is sitting Yudhi. Yudhi, welcome. And maybe you can also give a short introduction on who you are and why we are here today.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Yudhi Gautam. Originally from the Netherlands, half Indian as well.
Yes.
Moved here to the States about 10 years ago.
Yes. All right. Perfect.
10 years ago, moved here to the States.
Yeah.
As a student, originally started in the diamond trade. Went to study here for jewelry and diamonds. Mm-hmm. And then from there on, stayed between here and Europe. Started my businesses here independently in different businesses, which I would love to talk about.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Soon.
Yeah.
And right now in between Europe and the US.
That's awesome. And I want to hear all about that because I can definitely, when Catherine recommended you, you definitely have something to tell. So in the business edition, we're gonna try to ask you a lot of questions and learn from you guys, like how do you operate your business and what are the differences between the Netherlands and the US when you are entering the market. So I wanted to open with that a little bit. Like you just already gave the introduction. You came here, you met your wife, I didn't have a job, and then you started the business that you're in right now. How did that start, Philip? How did you start with nothing and then coming in this city, and if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere? How are you making it?
Sure. Well, the start was asking myself 3 questions. So, and my then girlfriend, of course, like where do we want to live? And we both wanted to be in New York. And then I was like, well, what do I know at this point, right? I knew real estate. I've done some real estate. I started my career in the Netherlands at ING Real Estate. Yeah. And it's like, and who do I want to work with? And I answered that question with, at that time, I love the international aspect of this city and the international demand for New York City real estate is always present. And I had lived in Argentina previously, so there was a link to Latin America. My wife's from Brazil. And
mine as well.
And well, you know them, right? So, different topic.
That was a whole different
That's podcast. Also a lot of business. And so I decided to target Latin Americans looking for New York City real estate. And I came up with a name. It was New York Casas at the time. Mm-hmm. And I created a domain, nycasas.com, which was miraculously available. And put Google AdWords on it on a Saturday night, and I woke up on Sunday and I had people looking for real estate in New York, and
Amazing.
I was like, I might be onto something.
Wow.
Now I need a license and all this other stuff, and I didn't have anything yet. It was just a proof of concept.
Amazing.
That came from previous endeavors and previous trials that didn't make it. And here I was like, day one, had proof of concept.
Traction. Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly.
But that's like very gutsy because, normally people from the Netherlands are kind of like, make safe steps and stuff. And you went all in, like, as I am listening to you. And this real estate market here is not easy. So how did you then start to move from the moment you got your first leads from Google AdWords, and what happened? What was that part of the journey?
Yeah. Like an online lead is not a deal, right? So there's a long trajectory usually.
Yeah.
I've seen leads take 6 years to close. But I'll take it. If it closes, it closes. That's good. So the benefit of having this niche in the beginning was that you're fishing in a pond far away from the main ocean and where everybody is fishing. So these people came in on a flight, would stay here for 2 weeks, then would disappear back to their country, and 6 months later they would come again and look at real estate again. So they're not running into 17 other agents every other day. There's 30,000 licensed people in this town, if not more, and they're all fishing in the same pond.
And how big is the city currently? Do you know? Like how many people are living in New York City, more or less?
So Manhattan is only 1.6 million households.
Okay.
So that's actually not that many, but if you take in the greater boroughs, it's close to 8.
Yeah. Wow. So you started getting your first leads in, you started following up these people, but then I can imagine that your time to a sale is pretty long because people are just 2 weeks in, what you say, a while out, a couple of weeks in. So how did that develop from that moment, and what were you experiencing with your Dutch experience coming here into New York?
So, I'm still working on it. Actually, it's hard to get rid of that Dutchness sometimes.
Yeah. What is typical Dutchness for you?
Well, in my business, right? Let's bring. One is boasting about yourself and making the slightest win is a major victory. It's like
it's just like wow, it's like a major achievement.
If you look at your resume in Holland, it's like, well, factual. I was an intern and I brought them coffee and I learned a lot.
Exactly.
Here it's like I was an essential part of the morning routine of the most successful people in the world doing the biggest deals in the world, and I was an essential part of that $1 billion deal that they did at the table. You brought coffee, but if you don't build yourself up, nobody stops.
That's awesome.
It's so fast.
Such an interesting insight. Judy, for you, you started. You came here. Is it recognizable for you what he's saying, that you have a similar experience? You came here in a very young age, 21 you told. How were those first days, weeks? What did you do?
Yeah, also a little bit of a similar experience, especially with creating a website on GoDaddy. Very simple, and then waking up the next day, a few days, and then all of a sudden getting a lot of clients. My story is a little bit different because I initially started in the diamond trade.
Yeah.
But I was young, adventurous. I said, hey, what can I do here in New York that
So you were active in the diamond trade before when you were in the Netherlands?
No, actually, I was still a student.
Okay.
So just got into the trade, started learning the family business.
Yeah.
Went to school here. After the school or during the school, I said, okay, what other business opportunities can I explore here?
Yeah.
So I said, I see all these offices. Let's try to do a maintenance company. So I went online, made a GoDaddy website.
How did you come up with a maintenance company? It sounds so boring, like maintenance company. Oh, I'm gonna start a maintenance company. How did that happen?
So my girlfriend, now wife, she also has a great connection with the Latin community.
Uh-huh.
So we already saw a lot of people looking for work.
Uh-huh.
So we said, okay, we see all these offices. thousands of offices.
Yes.
What can we provide them? So we said, okay, let's do a maintenance company. And you're right, my dad thought I was crazy, especially with investing, my education in the jewelry industry, and then all of a sudden saying, hey, I want to start a maintenance company. But okay, made the website, $40. A day later, woke up, and first call was, do you do snow removal? So I started a snow removal company. I said, yeah, of course we do snow removal. No idea what we were doing, but we
just said yes.
Yes.
Was it winter?
It was almost winter. It was getting to winter, so we had some time to prepare. But as it was almost winter, all other snow removal companies, they were fully booked. So we could not get any prices anywhere else. So we went to the location, measured it, and said, hey, what are we going to price it at? No idea. So we said, maybe we price it at $150 at that time. We said we pay the guy a bit who does.
So your first job was $150. You just said yes. You had no clue, no equipment, nothing. You just went in, $150, and the guy said
they gave us all their locations. Because we were very cheap.
Yeah.
Not knowing that at first. So it starts snowing. All of a sudden, we get a call. We say, hey, can you do other locations for us? We said, we're very busy because we only had one guy working.
Yeah.
Help us out. So we said, okay, $250. They said yes. Then
you were like,
yeah, right.
This is like almost double. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Then because in the Netherlands, no one is going to pay you $250.
No one is. They're going to shovel until they die.
Exactly.
No, don't spend the money, right? Yeah.
And one of the locations would take us 10 minutes of work. So. Next location, we said $350. Okay. Then we got another location, much larger, $1,000. And they said, okay. So at that point, I realized
you were just raising the price every time you got a new, and you're just testing out the market, basically.
Yeah. And then I realized that we could charge anything, what's realistic.
Yeah.
In America, it would not be realistic in Europe.
No.
But here we were able to charge these prices.
Yeah.
Especially as a student.
Do you know why you can charge that here? Do you have an idea or a feeling why, when the snow falls, you guys come and you can charge? What?
So I feel like, especially during that time, I feel like the economy was doing much better.
Okay.
So companies have more money to spend.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of the companies here are corporates.
Yeah.
Corporately owned. So for them, it's more of a need and a signature.
Yeah.
And if you can provide the job, and of course, you have a lot of liability as well here. So when they hire us, of course, we take on the liability.
Yeah.
If somebody slips and falls, you don't have that in Europe, for example. So it works out. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
But if you look at the difference between what you could charge in Europe and what you can charge here, it's more significant amount.
Yeah.
And as a student, I was very happy.
Yeah.
It was more than you could make.
Yeah.
Anywhere else.
Anywhere else.
So we had great revenues within the 3 months of snow.
Yeah.
We grew the company in the last 4 years to almost $1 million company.
Opa.
Over $1 million.
Congratulations.
And now we're now it's all 10 years later.
Yeah.
And we're servicing the largest hospitals in the city. We're servicing 150 locations actually, from hotels, and in fact as well, this hotel that we're sitting right now at the Citizen M is one of our clients.
Amazing. So that's awesome. Do you also do some properties for him or no?
Not yet.
Maybe you can, because that's what the Netherlands Club is about, right? It's about meaningful connections, meeting other Dutchies that are that are working here, that are studying here, that want to stay here, and then being surrounded by other people that maybe are a little bit more further, or maybe a little bit behind, but then helping each other out, and I think it's a beautiful thing. So it's definitely something that that the network could bring. So a little bit back to you, Philip. You were here. You're starting to establish a name. You're having these people from abroad. Like, what are the weirdest thing you walked in here when you were operating your business in the U.S.? Because you have no clue, no, right? You don't know what you don't know. Like,
you don't know what you don't know. Like the weirdest, I think that something I'm still struggling with is time is money, and it's so cliche, but to this point, like there's no price they'll say no to, as long as in their head it's convenience, right? I don't have to think about it, and I can focus on what I need to focus on, which is making my money with my business, right? And every time I feel like, in the beginning I did it all myself and I took the clients out and all that. And like the more and more I see this in front of me, because there's 20 agents working with me and they're all independent contractors. They go through their own journeys in this.
Yeah.
But, if it's a $50 task, don't do it. If it's a $100 task, don't do it. If it's a $250 task, don't do it.
Wow.
Like, if you're not focused on the big numbers, if your upside is not 50,000, 100,000, 150,000, why take the risk? Why even start? Stay in bed.
This is so cool, because actually recently I was talking to my my business mentor, and he exactly explained, like similar to you. He said, look, start valuing your own time. Like, what do you think that your hourly rate would be, hypothetical? And then look at where you are spending your time on and see that every task that is less than that, just outsource. Yep. Because you need to be focusing on that is so helpful. Do you recognize that when it is about the money, how do you make the money, how you can make money faster? Is there experiencing what you experience similar in your journey?
No, definitely. Especially in the US, it's such a large economy. And it's so different to what we have in, for example, the Netherlands. You only have 16, 17 million people. Here you all have over 400 million people, so there's a lot more funds available, a lot more opportunities available. So you have to choose your opportunities wisely here. And yeah, if you want to, make the American dream for some, you have to focus on. You can focus basically on anything, but you have to choose what you want to focus your energy on.
And what about the price level here? How is that?
Yeah, we had this conversation earlier. I think the price level here is, after my 10 years being here, I've said it's times 3. Everything is times 3.
3x.
So 3x. So if you are a lawyer, for example, and you charge $300, 300 euros in the Netherlands, you would charge here $900.
Yeah.
And the same.
And we as Dutchies would think that's awesome, because
right?
now
Yeah.
I can charge triple the price. But what happens as well?
So what happens is that, of course, the Dutch people, they come here because sometimes you think about, okay, how come a lot of Europeans, they move to New York or they move to America, and not all the concepts are successful, even though Dutch are very innovative, beautiful new concepts, but then they come here and it fails. So often they like to receive the 3x, but they don't want to spend the 3x. So
there's the Dutch cheapness coming.
No, but also it's because Dutch people, they like to have value for money.
Yeah.
And here, that concept doesn't really exist. You have to make the money faster than you spend it.
Wow.
You're not going to really get value for money here because it's just so expensive.
That's a golden nugget. You have
Yeah.
to make the money faster than you spend it. Yeah. And it is in line with what you were saying.
Yeah.
You were like outsourcing and stuff. And
To the point where I'm like, why am I spending an hour on finding a cheap ticket to Europe? Like, why? Like, this is not worth my time. To save $100? Like, what am I doing?
And it's so Dutch to do, right?
Very
To
Dutch,
spend
very
like
Dutch,
and just see how you can reduce the cash out as much as possible.
Right?
And
It's
just,
all about the cash in.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Because we even grow up sometimes checking the tickets after the supermarket. Did they double charge me? Or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we're very
yeah.
specific on looking at our tickets and very, very minuscule. If you think about it, maybe €1, €2 difference, or maybe they charge me extra. We're worried about
Yep.
that. But in the
you
US,
would
cannot
walk
be that.
back to the store.
Exactly. Yeah.
So cool. So
Through the rain.
It's amazing. It's amazing golden nugget. And then nowadays, Philip,
Yes.
you 11 years in, you started your company. You're growing it. What is currently going on? Like, what are you experiencing? What are like things you got like, this is good for the Dutchies to know in the club. If I would have known this 11 years ago, I would have like prevented myself from so much, I don't know, headache or work or I've could have done it faster. Is there something that pops into your mind where you go like, dang, or is it just put the work in and the money will come?
Big question. I'm trying to tap into. My wife is also an entrepreneur and has a business, and I feel like often of times I'm the brakes in the relationship.
Yeah.
I like I try to break. And like I feel like in 5 to 10 years, who knows where we'll be, but I will start looking back and be like, shit, I should have taken even more risk.
Okay.
Even more risk. Like, this is already risky, but like I should have taken more risk.
Wow.
Because time keeps on ticking, right? So that I think my biggest enemy right now is time.
Yeah.
I gotta go out there. I gotta go into the spotlight. Here we are, and go do the work. Another note: what is interesting, maybe from a real estate industry perspective, is that the model is changing.
Yeah.
It used to be the seller pays all, in the sense that they would pay the entire commission, usually 5 to 6%. That is now changing, and I feel like in 5 to 7 years we'll be closer to the European model where each pays their own side.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's going to have a major impact on my industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting. That's super interesting. We were talking about snow with you, right? And how do you look these days at snow? Like what? Because we look at snow at a certain way, but you probably look at it like something.
So of course the snow business for me, I always say it's white gold falling from the sky.
White gold falling from the sky. It's awesome.
But then after I have several companies. Snow was the first one when I was a student.
Yeah.
But then I moved into the real gold. So of course then I had the jewelry stores, which I have in Belgium. I have a lot of private clients here. We do a lot of limited editions with artists.
Yeah.
Here in the industry. So been working on the jewelry here as well.
Yeah.
And then of course started into the retail.
Yes. And what do you do in the retail?
So here started a store. Well, I started a store in 2017.
Yes.
Stroopwafel store in Amsterdam.
Stroopwafel store in Amsterdam.
Yes, van Wonderen Stroopwafels. And then I took the concept here and created Wonderen Stroopwafels in Grand Central Terminal.
Yes.
So really bringing the stroopwafels to the American market.
But not only the stroopwafels, because you showed me something before. What is it you do extra, and how do you Americanize this Dutch stroopwafel?
So Americans, they love the concept on stroopwafels and coffee and a hot beverage. So we created this coffee concept where you can have croissants, stroopwafels, macaroons and everything. But of course our main focus is on the stroopwafels. Because Americans, they, especially due to United Airlines that had the stroopwafels on their flights, Starbucks creating hype for stroopwafels, McDonald's having stroopwafel McFlurry. So the stroopwafels have been generally accepted here in America. So there's a big market, but we create that whole experience because what we do is we dip the stroopwafels in chocolate. So we put toppings on them. We make them really Americanized.
Yes.
And they love
over
it.
the top.
Yeah, over the top. It's like everything. It's like chocolate. It's like M&Ms. He just showed me some pictures. It's like so cool to see.
I had them on Tulip Day, I think.
You had them, yeah.
It was nice.
Wonderen stroopwafels, and it's almost like wonders what you guys do with the stroopwafel because I've never saw that in the Netherlands. So it's very interesting how you guys like pull that up.
Yeah, it's a very new concept. We were the first one to commercialize it in a store, especially here in America. So we have seen great success. We also do wholesale market to larger stores, whether it's supermarkets, larger corporations. We do corporate events. So we've had a really good traction here in America.
Do you think America is ready for stroopwafels?
Oh, definitely.
Stroopwafels, probably.
Stroopwafels,
yes.
Stroopies.
Yes, that's how my daughters say. Stroopwafels. Mark, can you bring us stroopwafels? Is it not necessary you can buy them right here?
Yeah. No, you can buy them right here in Grand Central Terminal.
Exactly. That's the thing. And now, Philip, these days, I'm from abroad. I want to buy something here. I need help because I have no clue. Like
you do.
How does I do now because I will come to you, of course. But how does it work with you? Like how people can find you through the website. They probably see a lot of content. I see a lot of content from you. You're very active. Like you make beautiful videos. Your projects are amazing. Can you tell a little bit about the project currently you're running that you're like really like proud of? Because I've seen some cool stuff, but I'm not the good person to indicate that. So
yeah, right. When it comes to Manhattan, that there's a tower right there behind you. That is.
Next
not
to the
sold
Williams
out.
Bridge, right?
Yeah, next to the Williamsburg Bridge. That's actually a Manhattan Bridge, yeah. So it's usually the new development that foreign investors and people that are moving here are interested in. One, because it's brand new and it feels safe. It's like, okay, this is all new and hasn't been lived in. Feels good to me. But also because the new stuff, that's the only stuff that's going up, right? So it's usually luxury, all kinds of amenities, like very modern living in the sense that you got your gym, sometimes your pool, 24-hour service, 24-hour doorman, public space, common spaces, and both on the roof or in the base, wherever it is. So that is pretty much the product that people have been building for the last decade or so. But what I want to plug in here is that the journey that I've specialized in over the last 12 years is people come here and they don't know the city, and they're like, Philip, where should I live, or where should I have my pied-à-terre, or whatever it is that they're looking for, or where should my daughter live when she goes to Columbia or NYU? And that is, I think, the puzzle. Because it's finding a match between somebody that has a certain lifestyle abroad, is not necessarily looking to replicate that, but where you live in New York is part of your brand. And if you tell people I'm living in Tribeca, or I'm living on Central Park, or I'm living on Gramercy Park, like
it tells something.
It tells something. And depending on what you want, if you come here to be an entrepreneur, it's crucial. If you tell them that you're in Midtown East in a broken co-op, then they're like, why would you do that to yourself? Why are you here?
Why are you here? What are you doing here? Yes. Please leave. Please leave.
It's part of like, hey, everybody. This is such a big town, and there's so much transient. People living here 1, 2, 3 years. You have to like stand out, and living is one of them. Clothing is another one. You really have to invest in all that, and I try to guide people to somewhere that is going to give them the opportunity to get out of New York what they envision.
You and the people in your company,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So when it comes to Stroop Baffles, what do we see in the coming time ahead? Like, what do you see? How do you see your life in New York, and where is the Stroop Baffle market? What's going to happen in the coming time?
No, I think as we discussed earlier, I think the Americans start to love Stroop Baffles.
Yes.
So
and we all should start buying Stroop Baffles.
Yes. So we have seen a lot of traction all around America, which is really nice. We have seen, because we do the wholesale side of things as well. So we sell to larger chains that have maybe 1,300 stores. And we see the sales, they're just going up, and up. And then, of course, the experience that we create here in New York, where you can go to the store, where we dip them in chocolates, and that's the whole experience. So we're trying to now replicate the experience in different states in America.
Wow.
New York is the first destination, but it will not be the last.
Wow.
We're going further.
And growing.
Yeah, we're growing. We're excited.
Awesome.
Let's see where it takes us.
Yeah. So let's make it a promise that I'll have you guys back in a year from now. We can follow up on what did happen in the last in the coming year and then the last year. I'm very impressed by you guys. Always when I talk to you, Philip, always a pleasure having you and seeing your enthusiasm and the way you are paving your way here in New York City. Very inspiring. Yudhi, for you as well, coming from snow and then, going into multiple businesses and driving the Stroop Baffle company. I think a very, very big inspiration for a lot of us. So thank you guys for coming. Is there anything you want to add to the podcast? What I really want to say is do this or don't do this, or is it I pretty much have everything? Maybe a golden nugget that you never say this in a negotiation or.
No, but I think in America, and especially for Dutch people that are thinking to come to America, I mean, America, you still have that American dream, which we don't really understand in the Netherlands. Because sometimes if in the Netherlands you want to, people are very entrepreneurial. They want to become something in life.
Yeah.
But it will take a lifetime.
Yeah.
Or even multiple lifetimes. Yeah. To succeed in what you can succeed in New York, for example, or America in 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Because you can find any business. I just mentioned the example of snow, which is they call it blue collar job.
Yeah.
And if you can make that $1 million company in 3, 4, 5 years, I mean, in the Netherlands,
Take you decades.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
and especially here in the US, anything you really want to do,
Yeah.
everything you put your mind
To
on,
will.
you can succeed. But you have to, adjust to the American lifestyle, way of thinking.
Beautiful.
I think when you got that right, you can do
Beautiful.
anything you want here.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. A last golden nugget from Philip himself.
I agree with that. It's never too late. Also,
Yeah.
like it's not too late if you're 65 and you have a good idea. People are listening. It's never too late.
Awesome. Thanks for the inspiration, guys. You're an inspiration to all of us. Thanks so much for coming. I hope to see you in 1 year.
Thank you.
See you then.
Thanks. See you then.